Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. This time we are checking out Steelworks Issue 1, the new comic from Michael Dorn and Sam Basri. Leaping from the pages of Action Comics, John Henry Irons finally gets another solo outing, the first in quite a few years actually, as his last official ongoing was in 1998 and was written by Christopher Priest. So Steelworks Issue 1 picks up the threads from Action Comics and follows John Henry Irons as he sets up his company Steelworks in Metropolis to try and help the city and the earth become a real world of tomorrow. But it's not without its trials and tribulations, since even after fixing everything Metallo did to the tower in Action Comics recently, more villains come out of the woodwork to prevent Steel from helping the city. Michael Dorn, who people might know as Star Trek The Next Generation's Worf or the actual voice of Steel in the DCAU, brings John Henry into the modern era really well, and in a very surprising way, in that the series is really ingrained in the history of the character, even recent history, as it relies quite heavily on the Superwoman series from DC Rebirth, a book Steel was heavily involved in along with Lana Lang, whose engagement to John is still a thing, and she makes a fantastic appearance in the book as well, kind of setting her up as sort of a mainstay character in the book. I'm thoroughly excited that their story is getting to continue and it wasn't reset or retooled, and I'm looking forward to Lana getting involved more with the Superman family going forward. As for the villains of the issue, it was mostly set up, as we are still left with a lot of questions about the new villain Charles Walker III, who really just seems like your kind of run-of-the-mill competitor to Steelworks. Think of him as like a Justin Hammer or an Obadiah Stane, you know. He runs a shady version of Amratech, which is John's former company, the company he used to work for, and he's trying to take down Steelworks. I'm more interested in Sean Carey, the man Charles seemingly turns into a metahuman who can face through walls, and who I imagine will be sort of the heavy that Steel has to go up against. The backstory for Sean is what intrigued me the most, since he lost his job at Amratech when John quit in the 90s, and Charles tries to frame it like it was totally Steel's fault, and that him leaving in the big way and becoming the big hero is what caused him to lose his job, where in reality it was really Amratech being a real shady and greedy company. With the way the Superman writers have been handling the villains lately, and the family resorting to sort of talking things out with them and actively finding ways to help rehabilitate them and help them, I'm looking forward to seeing how John will deal with this new villain when it comes time to trade blows with them, since it fits super nicely in with the mission statement of rebuilding what was broken. On that topic, a big crux of this issue is of course fixing Metropolis, and John wants to do that by giving people free access to Steelworks and the technology that Superman found on Warworld, and sort of giving things back to the people. And he's doing it in a really interesting way, since instead of relying on the Superman family to sort of fix everything and provide everything, he wants regular people to join in, since, as John puts it, while the supers are there to help and they are needed in some sort of situations, Metropolis needs to see that regular people can also pitch in and make a big difference, and really he is the perfect candidate to do this story with, since John is just a man in a can. He doesn't have superpowers or anything, and he's just trying his hardest to lead by example. How he's going about it is interesting as well, since he doesn't actually have a solution to this problem. He knows it's a problem and wants to discover the solution, or in his case, engineer a solution, and it's really refreshing to have a character who isn't just starting off a new series with a grand solution. Like I think about the countless Iron Man stories we've had in the past, where the new writer comes in, it's a new #1, and there's some big new change in what the hero is going to do for the city or for the world, and then it backfires. And I like here that's sort of doing the opposite, where the hero knows there needs to be something done and he doesn't have the solution, but the series is going to be about him finding that solution. It's really interesting, and I like that he's admitting he doesn't have all the answers, and that's why he wants to rely on Natasha and Lana and the Superman family to help find that answer. It's a really great representation of the Superman family morals, you know, being together as one and sort of helping out each other and everything, and it's a great way to represent John's continuing journey to try and pay forward Superman saving his life 30 years ago, a debt he knows he can't possibly repay, but damned if he isn't going to try. Sam Basri visualizes Dawn's work with impressive clarity. Being no stranger to the Superman family, Basri's colorful, character-focused panels don't feel out of place at all, and they just shine, and none more so than his double-page spreads, which there are two of in this issue, and both are used to kind of lore dump on us a little bit and deliver information in a really visually appealing way, especially the second one, which is like this great sort of of collage of the Superman family, kind of runs you through the events of like the Superwoman book, DC Rebirth, King and Kong and Superwoman and all that sort of stuff, and what John's plan is for Metropolis. The book also came with these kind of 3 infograph pages. Think of like what's happening in the X-Men where they have like those pages of information, and here it runs through the big events that Steel has been part of, those being the Doomsday event, the battle with Lena Luthor from the Superwoman book, and recently the Metallo event over in Action Comics. They ran down the events really well, gave you a quick, concise sort of information dump about what those events were, and it was a great way to indicate which stories you should go check out while also keeping it in universe and not breaking that immersion and just saying, hey, pick up these 3 books now at DC Comics, you know? I like that it was in universe. Michael Dorn and Sam Basri's premiere issue of Steelworks did not disappoint, building off of Philip Kennedy Johnson and Joshua Williamson's recent work on the Superman family, as well as the Superwoman DC Rebirth title, to create a compelling new era for the Man of Steel that looks to tackle some really interesting problems for Metropolis and for John Henry Irons. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10, so definitely check it out, and if you already have, tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below.